recall. All right, you ready for more? So we got the blueprint. What's next? Oh, the action. You better buckle up because it's going to be good. The next wonderful lady that I actually took my action icon status from and was crowned after her. She was the action icon in the first year. I'm the action icon in the second year. She is a voice coach, and she's been a singer and performer probably for her entire life. And she'll tell you probably a little bit more about that. She's a mother of a 7-year-old. Whew, how many of you ever had a 7-year-old? How many of you ever been 7 years old? Right? Her husband is a KB. He works for NASA. Yeah, action and someone that works for NASA, KB. So power scripting is part of her daily life, just in her own relationship, not even taking it into her business. She has done 30 Why They Buys since she's been a trainer. She's recruited 10 trainers. She actually won the contest last year, a $5,000 shopping spree on Rodeo Drive. That was the funnest time ever. We went to the bank. We had to get the $5,000 in the bank, and then she had to spend all the $5,000 at Rodeo Drive that day, and it was a hoot. It was a hoot. You know, $5,000 on Rodeo Drive, it really doesn't take you that far, honestly, right? Especially with an A. They're like, oh, I'll have 2 Louboutins, and oh, I'm broke. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our action icon from the year before I was an action icon, let me rephrase that. The action icon ever, the wonderful action icon and empowered voice coach. Will you please stand on your feet and help me welcome Miss Stephanie Bonte-Lebair.
This is an actions dream, especially in this community. Good afternoon. We're going to have fun. You see how this is different, right? We're going to have some fun today. I am so grateful to be here. I have to share with you, well, I have some ideas of what I want to share with you, but I'm in action, so I've got a basic outline, so bear with me. I know how I want to start and how I want to end, and in the middle, we'll see what happens. I am super passionate about helping people find their authentic voice and then take real action to put it out in the world in the bigger way. How many of you want to get your voice out into the world in a bigger way? Show of hands. Yeah. And when I say get your voice out into the world in a bigger way, I mean that literally, because I'm a singer. And I've been using my voice ever since I can remember and trying to put it out into the world in the biggest possible way. And my version was through singing and performing on stage. And I love to do that. And I knew immediately that I wanted to go to college and be a singer. And what do you do if you want to be a singer in college? You get a performance degree. Much to the chagrin of my parents, who thought maybe I should get an education degree, but I'm like, nope. I want to be a performer. You get a performance degree. And I have a master's in voice, which also means I'm a classically trained opera singer. I have a minor in speech pathology because I really do want to understand my instrument. I have to understand how it works, and I already knew that I wanted to coach people. I did know that I did not want to be in the public school system. There was something about that did not appeal to me. But I still love to teach. And in fact, when I was in college, I was given a full ride from my master's program. They gave me an office at Illinois State University, and I taught the music minors and the theater majors singing lessons. And it paid me. So I got paid to get my graduate degree. And I loved that. It was fun. I made some money, and I got a lot of great experience. And then I went to New York City, and I lived there for 3 years, singing in opera, musicals, cabaret. I sang on Restaurant Row. I met some amazing people that I'm still connected with to this day. And then I met my husband. on Match.com. And he works for NASA and lived in Maryland. And he is actually a blueprint knowledge, nurture action, and I'm an action, nurture, knowledge blueprint. Perfect. It's a perfect combination. We have so much fun together. We have learned so much together. And in fact, I'm so excited that we're going to be going on the couples retreat. I finally got him to say, not finally, it actually took about 5 minutes, right, Sherry, to get him to say yes, to come with me on the couples retreat. That's how good I am. Yeah. So in my journey, I was working mostly with singers to start, but then I started working with business owners. Because do business owners need to use their voice? Yes, they do. Do you think business owners sometimes have stage fright when they have to speak in front of a networking group or on a stage even? Do you think that would be a little nerve-wracking for some? Yes. And I had a skill set that they needed. So I was able to translate my acting and singing experience to the business world. And then I met Sherry Tree. And the rest is history, as they say. And I was able to have voice coaching, presentation coaching, and now sales training, all wrapped up into a beautiful bow. And I love bank. And I could tell you some high-level tips about how have I been successful with bank. How have I, and by the way, that was 30 why they buys in the last year, not since I started. I did 30 in the last 12 months. I can tell you, thank you. I'm consistently making money every single month. I consistently have a foundational base that I get from corporate, through commissions now, enough to pay a mortgage for most people. And that's just the beginning. I know I'm just scratching the scratch of the scratch. But it makes a difference for my blueprint husband, right? So I'm on this path, and I can give you tips and tricks for all of that. But when Sherry and Esther asked me to give this talk, I said, well, what do you want me to share? And they said, your success story. And so I thought, okay, and I'm in action, so I did not figure out what I was going to say until like yesterday. So I was thinking about what is it that really has been my secret to success with bank? And what is ironic about the whole thing is it's bank itself that has helped me succeed. And I mean that from the perspective of emotional intelligence and empathy. So there were many of us that went through L4 training this week. Who are my L4 trainers? Woo! That whole class is about emotional intelligence and how it will rise when you know bank. And how can you use it through bank to help the people you're connected to. And as a group, we learned probably the most important lesson we could learn with bank. Yes, we did. And it is about the ability to recognize when emotional intelligence goes down. And then to say to yourself, who do I want to be? When you're recognizing that the emotional intelligence is going down, how do I want to show up to help that situation? And we are so much better as a result of what we went through in those 2 days. Would you agree, L4 trainers? Yes. So much better. And I would say that my success is very similar to that learning, because along the way, over the last few years of being connected with bank, I've had to learn a lot of hard lessons. A lot of emotional intelligence lessons, a lot of ways to have more empathy for everyone around me. Empathy for my husband, empathy for my son, empathy for my parents who are high Ks, my sister who's a 25 out of 25K, and I was the only little action child in that household. And I always said to myself, what was wrong with me? And it was also interesting because I also had a lot of K friends in grade school, now that I look back on it. For some reason, I was attracting a lot of Ks into my world. But bank gives you the empathy that you need to not make it personal, to not make it about you. So, now that all these L4 trainers have raised their EQ, we're going to go out into the world and do really big things. On my journey last year, I was able to do something really big. I was able to create my own one-woman musical called Stage Dreams. It's actually a 45-minute musical keynote presentation that has an inspirational message, and it's really all about EQ. And I didn't realize consciously how much bank has affected my ability to, I need to have a high EQ even to feel good enough to share the vulnerable stories. How many of you have been hurt by someone in your life, especially when you were younger, by someone who had low emotional intelligence? Show of hands. Every single person in this room, right? They didn't know bank, right? And they had low emotional intelligence. I was able to tap into those stories for myself, and I think one of my keys to success is that I share those stories when I share bank. I share my journey, I share who I am, I share my struggles. I go through the Why They Buy presentation and I talk about that little girl who got hurt, who had the teacher who didn't know her code, didn't know bank, didn't know what it was doing her best. But she was a knowledge type and I was an action type. I was the little girl that didn't know how to study, because I didn't want to study, it was no fun, who did my homework the night before. So in this journey of creating my one-woman musical keynote, let me give you a little bit of the premise so you understand what it's about. It is me, present day, questioning the path of my life. Did I make the right choices? Am I doing the thing that I really love to do? How many of you have ever questioned whether you're making the right decision, whether you're on the right path, whether you have chosen correctly somewhere along the line? Maybe the what ifs, right? There's always a what if along the way. What if I had done this? What if I had done that? So in my show, I have a what if. What if I had stayed in New York City? Because I lived there for 3 years performing actively. And then I married a wonderful man and had a beautiful son. But what if I had stayed? So in the musical, I go back to New York City, and I go to a Broadway audition. And I had done some Broadway auditions, definitely. I lived in New York, I performed everywhere. So I go back to this Broadway audition, and I meet these two younger girls who you don't ever physically see, but they're there, and I interact with them. And I position myself as the mentor. I'm the older, the wiser one. I've done this before. And I'm sharing my story with them to mentor them through this audition. But what ends up happening is that they mentor me. And they teach me about myself. And there's a piece in my story, and I'm going to share it with you from my show, where I share a story about being in 4th grade. So when I was in, there I am. When I was in 4th grade, I was put in the academically talented program. I was smart. I was put in a special little classroom away from all the other kids in school. And I felt special, right? Ooh. And I felt elevated. And I was a little action girl. And I was in a room with a lot of knowledge types. So I did my best, but I didn't always pay attention in class. But I loved the prestige that I felt, that I had. And I remember coming back from Christmas break. And I walked in the classroom, and the teacher saw me come in, and she said, "I'm sorry, why are you here?" And I said, "Well, this is my class." And she said, "Oh, no. You didn't do well enough last semester to stay in this class. You're now going to be put in the lower class." And then she took me down the hallway, walked me to the lower 4th grade class, and all of the students were sitting at their desks, ready to start the day. The teacher was standing in front of the room, and she said, "I'm so sorry to interrupt, but there's been a mistake." And then she points to a little girl, my friend Jenny. She says, "Jenny, you're now in the academically talented program. Please grab all of your things, stand up, and come with me. Stephanie, please go down and take her seat." So my little 4th grade action self felt humiliated. I had been demoted. I was not smart enough or good enough to be in that class. And my friend Jenny, she obviously was smarter than me. And everyone watched her get promoted to the higher class. So as I sat down at my desk, I remember opening the lid to the desk, putting my stuff inside, and the cool air from the bottom of that metal desk hit my flushed face. And then the little fire inside of me lit up. And I said, "I'm not stupid! I'm not stupid. Everyone is looking at me. I'm not stupid. My voice rings out. Do they hear my plea? The heat on my face, I hate that I'm crying. Wide-eyed stares, do they think that I'm lying? No one makes a move, no one says a word. How long must this agony go on?" She's moving on like nothing's happened. I lift my desk and feel the cool, dark space. If just for a moment, this is the moment I decide. I'm not stupid, in fact I'm smart. I've got lots of brains and a great big heart. Don't put me in the corner and force me to the back. I'll prove to you I've got the knack. I'm gonna lead this pack. Valedictorian, top of the class, made the state choir and I read really fast. Show choir, drum major, drama club, true. First chair, flute, awards of the kazoo. I'm not stupid, you'll see it's true. I'm so bright, I'm gonna prove it all to you. I spent so many school years proving them all wrong. Looking back now, it makes a pretty cool song. But at the time, I was just a little girl. Heard so many comments, they made my head swirl. But this painful day could not crush me at the time. You can't tell a winner to go to the end of the line. I'm not stupid, I made it here, I'm well on my way. I'm not stupid, I'm back to prove I'll sing on Broadway. I'm not stupid, then why stand here lined up on this floor? I'm not stupid. I don't need to prove that I'm more. My future's my own, to build as I please, to make my own miracles, and do it with ease. I don't need to prove myself to me. There's a better way that I can be, because I'm not stupid. You'll see. Thank you.
That was freaking amazing.
Thank you.
Give it up for Stephanie Bonte-Lebair. Come on, let me hear you. Whew, got me. Takes us right into our